I am Dr. Sergio Velastin. I'm a reader here at Kingston University. I am the course leader for the MSc in Embedded Systems, and I also direct the Digital Imaging Research Center. I am originally from Chile in South America, which is the longest country in the world, and other extreme things. I came to England when I was fairly young, so my university education was all done in here. And after a number of different jobs, my original degree was in electronics, and I gradually moved into computing. And I ended up in Kingston because it had a growing team in digital imaging, which is what I specialized on. The Digital Imaging Research Center is a center of excellence in Kingston University, and that means that it's recognized by the university as a whole as being a group of people who are doing research at international level. The main focus of the Digital Imaging Research Center is to look at ways in which imaging, and particularly the use of computers in imaging, can be used in a range of applications. So to give, first of all, an idea of what that means, we need to realize that as human beings, we use our eyes through our brains in order to understand the world. In fact, about 80% of our brain capacity is spent purely on looking and understanding things. So a holy grail of technology is to be able to emulate that power that we have. So that is basically what we are trying to do at the center. So to say, if I have a camera, connect that camera to a computer, add some clever software, that system as a whole might be able to understand the world. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So for instance, supposing that you are going into hospital and someone needs to scan you. Normally what would happen is someone will take a picture, it could be an X-ray picture or some other type of imaging picture, and a specialist radiologist will have to look at that picture in order to provide an analysis of what might be right or wrong with you. Now that is a highly human-intensive process, and imaging techniques, which are supported by computers, can at least assist that radiology in cleaning up some of the imagery, provide them a better image, or perhaps provide them an initial diagnosis that they can then confirm. On the other hand, there's imaging techniques which are useful for the entertainment industry. If, for instance, if I have cameras in a football match, I might be able to follow the game and provide a running commentary to an interactive device, so that when I go home, I don't need to watch the whole of the match, but I could just simply interrogate the system and say, show me the best 5 moves. Now, what is the best 5 moves is something very difficult to do, but that's why we need all the research in order to understand how players move in a football field and what makes a good move. So those are 2 examples where digital imaging can play a role in daily lives. And perhaps that is one of the most interesting things for me, that is not an esoteric subject, but it's something that you research, and then you might have a direct application of that. The Digital Imaging Research Center, or DIRC for short, is one of the largest centers of its kind in the UK and perhaps in Europe. We have approximately 17 academic staff full-time, which is very large for something which is quite focused. We have a large population of PhD students and master by research students and researchers, people who are here purely to do research. So it's a very large group, which gives it a lot of critical mass, and people find it very interesting to work in here because you're not in a corner doing some esoteric piece of work without any support, but people do work in teams and support one another. I think that all academics benefit greatly by having not only pure academic activities, but activities have to do with the real world. So I have lots of links with what I might call stakeholders, people who are affected by what I do. So a lot of my computer vision work, for instance, or visual surveillance, the monitoring of people in places, has been done with interactions with people like underground railways and main railways, bus companies, etc., and the passengers who are affected by what we might do. So I try always to understand the impact that my research has on people. Also, it's important, I think, for an academic to understand the economic reality which are faced by manufacturers of systems like embedded systems. So I'm quite proud that I founded a company a few years ago, and that company is still running, and I'm sort of loosely associated with that company, and that the university, in fact, cooperates very much in research and development with that company. So I hope that by doing that, I'm also keeping up to date as to what is the latest drivers for industry. And we cooperate as part of our courses with a wide range of big players and then small players, SMEs and very large corporations. The research that we do at DERC is not research that stays on its own and finds its way just to papers or conferences, etc., but it's something that we use internally, very much so, to inform our modules and our teaching modules. So a lot of our teaching is informed by what we do in research. And clearly, of course, a lot of what we do at research informs our links with industry. So it works in both ways, in the teaching side, but also in the links that we have with local and national industry in this field.